The baby and her child would be able to wear these no matter what their sex was. Madeline was about to pay for the clothes. However, when she turned around, she saw Meredith. It seemed as if she was alone. She had a sinister smile on her face. Madeline wanted to walk past her, but Meredith stopped her. "Maddie, you're in so much trouble and you're still in the mood to shop? Aren't the police looking for you?" Madeline was confused about what she was talking about. Then, Meredith continued, "You're such a character as well. It's fine if you don't have talent, but why did you plagiarize other people's work? The company, Menorah, is suing you for ruining their company's name. Plus, they're also suing you for breaching their intellectual property rights. If you're convicted of this crime, you're going to jail." Madeline was puzzled. The company that Meredith mentioned was the company that entrusted her to design the couple rings. However, that was her own creation. She never stole any designs, so how was this plagiarism? "Meredith, stop spewing nonsense. You're ruining my reputation by slandering me like this. Maddie, stop pretending. This is not the first time you did something so heinous," Meredith said with pity. Madeline did not want to fight with Meredith anymore. She had been at the losing end a few times. She did not want Meredith to have any chance of framing her again. However, it was as if Meredith knew that Madeline wanted to leave, so she grabbed her hand hurriedly and said in a gentle but loud voice, "Maddie, I know you hate me, but please don't kill my child. Come at me if you want revenge. The child is innocent." This again. Madeline had fallen for it the first time, so she would not allow Meredith to set her up again. However, Meredith was even more devious than Madeline imagined. She pulled Madeline's hand and swung it all of a sudden. Then, she fell backward as if she had lost her balance. "Ah!" she yelled out in pain. The staff and customers of the maternity shop all looked over. Then, Jeremy appeared just in time. He saw Meredith on the floor holding her stomach in pain. He carried her hurriedly. There was a puddle of blood where Meredith was lying on just now. At this moment, Meredith's eyes were red. She shrieked at Madeline bitterly and hatefully, "Maddie, why are you so cold-blooded? Why'd you steal my boyfriend? And now, you even want to kill my child. I'm your sister." She fell into Jeremy's arms while looking like she was in immense pain. "Jeremy, I can't keep the child anymore. I can feel him slipping away from my body." The onlookers all glared at Madeline in unison. Jeremy was looking at her with so much malice. It was as if he wanted to kill her. "Madeline, if anything happens to my child, I'll bury you along with him." Madeline felt a gust of cold air rising from her feet. A bad feeling washed over her entire body. Jeremy left her with a warning before leaving hurriedly with Meredith in his arms. Madeline turned around to chase up to them, but the moment she stepped out of the shop, she was stopped by 2 cops. Someone had called the cops. This familiar scene caused Madeline's scalp to feel numb. She remembered how she was beaten up badly when she was in the lockup. She almost lost her child. If she went into lockup again, she might die there. She wanted to see the birth of Jeremy and her child before she died. She did not want to go in. "I didn't push her. She purposely fell." Madeline was on the brink of an emotional breakdown. Then, the sounds of criticism and gazes of disdain from the people around were all aimed at her. Everyone was sure that she was the one who did that heinous crime. The cops handcuffed Madeline when they saw that she was refusing to cooperate. Then, they brought her into the cop car. Madeline went back to the house. She wanted to leave after packing some clothes. However, when she saw the baby clothes on the sofa, she could not help but hold them in her hands while feeling reluctant. When she remembered that Jeremy was the one who bought these baby clothes for Meredith, she felt a pang of indescribable pain in her chest. She touched her 3-month pregnant stomach. She could feel tears pricking the corner of her eyes. However, Madeline wiped away her tears quickly. She hated herself for failing to live up to expectations. That man was so cruel to her, and yet she was still deeply worried and longing for this man who she could not get. Madeline took a set of baby clothes and went downstairs. However, she did not expect to run into Jeremy and Meredith at the door. When she saw Meredith walking over while holding Jeremy's hand intimately, Madeline's heart started hurting as if it was being stabbed by a million needles. "Maddie, where are you going?" Meredith asked while blinking innocently. She looked at the bags in Madeline's eyes and pretended to be curious. Maddie, when did you go to the maternity shop? Do you want to give my baby a present?" Madeline had never seen a mistress who had so much courage like Meredith before. She peered at Meredith in disgust. "You're proud of being pregnant with the child of a wedded man. Meredith, you're so thick-skinned." Meredith's face fell. She looked at Jeremy aggrievedly. "Jeremy, I think I should go home. I'm worried that Maddie will get jealous again. It's fine if she hurts me, but if she hurts our child, I'm worried that I won't be able to keep him." She was saying that innocently, but she was obviously trying to enrage Jeremy. "You're not the one who should leave." Jeremy looked at Madeline with an icy gaze. "Scram. Don't ever appear in Mer's vision anymore," he warned coldly. Then, he pointed at the baby clothes Madeline was holding. "I bought those for Meredith's child. Who allowed you to touch them? Don't you know how filthy you are? How is my son going to wear the clothes you've touched?" He was calling her filthy. He was calling it his son. Madeline could not endure the excruciating pain in her heart. She looked at the face that she had loved for 12 years and her heart ached. "Jeremy, why are you so cruel to me? Is it just because you think that I planned for you to sleep with me? Is that why I've become an eyesore to you? However, do you know that time, Maddie?" Meredith interrupted suddenly. She walked over to advise her. "You can't blame Jeremy for being mad. He's a neat freak. You had so many relationships with different men and even slept with so many men for money. I can't even accept this, let alone Jeremy. Hee hee." Madeline wanted to burst out laughing. Meredith's every word was filled with hypocrisy and provocation. However, Jeremy believed her every word. His face became gloomy immediately. He then pulled Meredith back into his arms. "Don't you think that she's filthy? How can you touch her? Come. Let's go back to our room." He held Meredith's hand and turned around. Madeline's eyes hurt from looking at the two of them. The pain went straight to her heart. Plus, Meredith even turned around and gave her a victorious smirk. Madeline's heart sank. She knew that no matter what, she would not be able to hide how Jeremy felt about her. She forced herself to not think about him. She worked hard to make her life go back to normal. After all, she was still hoping that she would be able to hold on until the birth of her child. Madeline transferred Len to another hospital. It was obvious that Meredith had bribed the nurse from before. Madeline left after she settled her grandfather's matters. She then passed by a maternity shop. After hesitating at the door for a while, she went in. She picked out 2 sets of clothes, one pink and one blue. John and Rose were shocked when they saw Madeline vomiting blood, but at the same time, they felt pleased. The duo shut the door and ignored Madeline. They did not care about her at all. It would be better if she died. Madeline curled up in between the shrubs with her body covered with dirt and rainwater. She clutched her painful stomach and watched as Jeremy carried Meredith into the car. He could see her from the rearview mirror, but he did not even want to look at her. On the other hand, Meredith was staring at her. She smiled victoriously without a trace when she saw Madeline as pale as a corpse with her mouth filled with blood. Madeline lowered her hand that was trying to ask for help hopelessly as she watched the car drive away. Her tears and the rainwater blurred her vision. He was so worried about Meredith's child, but he did not care about the child in her stomach. He even wanted to kill the child in her stomach. Madeline chuckled lamentably. She was laughing at how sad her life was. When did her life become like this? Perhaps it started from the moment she fell in love with the man that she was not supposed to fall in love with. Madeline had to be hospitalized for a few days for her internal and external injuries. Thankfully, her child was fine. No one asked about her these few days. Daniel was the only one who called her and asked about her condition. Madeline skimped over this while pretending nothing happened. She did not want Jeremy to target Daniel anymore. When she was discharged, the doctor told her in regret. She was unable to have an abortion to perform the surgery to remove her tumor in her current situation now. When she heard this, Madeline did not have any sad reactions. On the contrary, she just smiled calmly. When she walked out of the hospital, the warm winter sun landed on her thin face. She did not feel any warmth now, especially when she thought about how Jeremy treated her. It was as if she had a huge crack in her heart and the cold wind was invading it mercilessly. Madeline was going to take the bus, but she saw a familiar figure at the side door of the hospital. When she looked closer, she saw that it was Eloise and her husband, Sean. Even though Eloise was biased against Madeline and despised her after what her precious daughter told her, for some reason, Madeline still felt that Eloise looked amiable. She saw Eloise frowning, looking pained. Then, she heard her mentioning something about the hospital, birthmark, and daughter. Madeline figured she might be talking about her daughter, Brittany. As such, she did not want to disturb her. She turned around to leave. At this moment, Meredith walked out of the hospital while grumbling. She knew Madeline was staying in this hospital. She wanted to come to insult Madeline when Jeremy did not have time to accompany her. However, she was told that Madeline had left before she got here. She swore in agitation. Then, she lifted her head and saw Eloise and Sean standing at the side door. Meredith put on a gentle and lovable smile. When she was about to go over and greet them, she saw Eloise leaning against Sean's chest sadly while saying, "I wonder where our daughter is? I wonder if she's doing well. Sean, please don't let Britt know that she's not our biological daughter. Don't worry. Our daughter will be the only 24-year-old young woman in this world with a butterfly birthmark on her lower back. I'll find her even if I have to flip the entire Glendale over." Meredith was stunned. She could not believe what she just heard. She was pleased with the fact that Brittany was not their biological daughter. However, she was unable to accept what Sean said. She remembered clearly that Madeline had a butterfly birthmark on the left side of her lower back. Plus, Madeline and Brittany's birthdays were on the same day. She was also 24 this year.